Okay, let's talk about LinkedIn. If you have followed me for any length of time, you know this was coming. This was coming. I didn't do it right at the start, so you don't get to shout at me. But we're going to talk about LinkedIn, and we're going to talk about it at the very 101 level, which is what the heck should I actually be doing with LinkedIn? My name's Chris Hargraves. This is Digital Marketing Mastery for Lawyers, and you can find this and more amazing things at digitalmarketingforlawyers.com. And for now, we were talking about LinkedIn, which I do confess is probably my favorite social media platform. They have been mucking around with it a bit, which has made me sad over the last few years, but I cannot wallow in self-pity, and I need to accept that it is a free platform with which we can make tens, hundreds, or millions of dollars, tens, hundreds of thousands, or millions of dollars, should we apply ourselves to it in the appropriate way. The question is, what is the appropriate way? Because I think for lawyers in particular, what we have a tendency to do is create a profile, cut and paste our marketing spiel from our website into our profile, sort of swim around a little bit, checking the buttons, seeing what does what. Scrolling through our newsfeed has a tendency to take a lot of time, and then we log out and think, well, that was a waste of time. And I'm not in favor of you wasting time, as you probably know by now. So let's have a talk about LinkedIn, what it's for and what we can be doing with it, because I think it is a useful tool for the vast majority of lawyers to be connecting with potential referrers or potential clients, depending upon your particular industry. The first thing to understand about LinkedIn is, of course, its culture. It does have a slightly different culture from Facebook and from Reddit and from YouTube and from Twitter. It's a different creature. It's a different creature. They all are to some extent, but it's got its own ecosystem as to what it considers to be good and bad, why people are there, what they're looking for. And you do see, and I'm not one of these people, but you do see sometimes people clamping down and going, this belongs on Facebook or some other nonsense like that. I don't agree with that, because I think connection is connection, but we have to accept that that does exist. So what is LinkedIn for? LinkedIn is principally for professional connection. That makes sense. You want to build a professional network, and you want to interact with and get to know people who are like-minded or have similar goals, or who can offer some sort of mutually beneficial relationship to each other. Now, of course, within that, we have a tendency to see a bunch of inspirational fluff. I am not totally against the concept of inspirational fluff, but I don't feel it offers a great deal of value to me personally. What should you be doing on LinkedIn? I think fundamentally, networking and marketing involves a fairly straightforward series of steps, which is finding the people you want to be finding, getting to know them, introducing yourself to them in some way, sort of a virtual handshake of sorts, and then over time developing that relationship in whatever way is most sensible. At a certain point, if you want to add that fourth element of sales into the mix, then I'm not pathologically against that. What I am a little terse about is instantly messaging people you've only just met with a sales pitch. I think that might be a little bit much, but other than that, if your relationship with someone at a professional level has reached the point where it's appropriate for you to say, so how can we help you in your business, then that's fine. Do that. How are we going to use LinkedIn to do this? So how are we going to find people? Firstly, LinkedIn has a search function, so use the search function. That's not especially difficult. Secondly, use LinkedIn to connect with people you already meet in real life. Yes, you can, in fact, dovetail real life and internet life together. That might sound strange from someone who works from home a lot of the time and does things on the internet, but you can. It is a real thing. I promise that that's going to work. And of course, you can find new people as well. LinkedIn doesn't necessarily encourage this a great deal, but you can, of course, use the search function to find people who might be connected with people you know, or who might be in industries or areas where you think they are the kind of people you want to get to know. So you've predetermined this group or classification of people that can benefit you and you can benefit them, and you can find them and connect with them. Send them a personalized note. That's number one. Do that regularly. Reaching out to new people, building your professional network on LinkedIn. Number two is just to say hi. Literally, send a message. Yo, Joe, how's it going? Hot day in Brisbane today, isn't it? As it is right now. I wish I had the air conditioning on, but the noise comes through in the microphone, which is pretty irritating. So, number two, get to know people. But you can do that very easily. Just say hello to them. Not hard. Doesn't need to be a sales pitch. Doesn't need to be long-winded. Just say, hi, how's it going? Thanks for connecting. Hope you're having a great week. That is not complicated. And of course, you can as well comment on some of their posts, like a couple of things that they do, just to develop that feeling of goodwill. And over time, of course, you can then build that relationship. Perhaps you find something in a magazine that's particularly relevant to their industry. You could send them a note and say, hey, I found this and I thought of you because I know you're in this industry. Did you have any thoughts on the topic? Invite a conversation. If you go to a networking event, you're going to find ways to create conversation by asking people about their business or by making observations and asking for their input. Digital relationship building is really no different, as I've said before, except that you have the added bonus that you can send a message at 4:30 in the morning, whereas if you turned up at someone's doorstep at 4:30 in the morning with an article saying, hey, look at this, they probably wouldn't be very receptive to you. That's it. Meet people, reach out and say hello, shake hands, the digital shake hands basically, and then over time develop the relationship. Tag them in something if it's super relevant, message them from time to time, comment on their articles to demonstrate that you're interested in what they do, just as you would hope that they would do the same back for you. This is not really rocket science at this point, but for some reason people struggle to have that pattern, and it really is just a 1, 2, 3. Meet new people, engage with them a little bit, build relationship over time. That's it. That is LinkedIn in a nutshell. That is every relationship development in a nutshell, but we focused on LinkedIn for today because I know lots of lawyers use it and lots of lawyers could be using it better. If you are not connected with me, reach out. Say, hey, Chris, heard your podcast. It was awesome. Would love to connect. You don't have to say it was awesome if you didn't think it was awesome, but if you got to this point, you must have thought something was happening or you fell asleep on the bus or whatever it was. But either way, we have now reached the end, and I would love it if you could hit subscribe, could say something nice, could do something useful like that, and I will see you in the next episode.